This game is being played with the Steamroller 2015 Incursion scenario. The scenario does not have the Killbox artifice. It consists of 3 flags. Each flag can be controlled for 1 CP or dominated for 1 CP. Victory conditions consist of 5 control points or caster assassination.
Alright, so for our 100th battle report, we decided to go with something a little bit strange, where we decided to do, I don't know, crazy thought, 100 points on each army slide. For your opponents, they chose 2 different factions and designed lists that kind of synergize with each other. You two did Skorne on for the full 100 points. What was the idea behind your guys' list compositions?
We had to have an idea.
It usually helps.
5 huge bases.
And I just wanted to play this pointy stabby guy that I have never played before. I haven't played Skorne in a really long time, and I got roped into this. I've been playing Circle and Signar for like 3 years. But I have all this stuff that I wanted to get on the table, and that new theme list for Morghoul came out. I thought, what the heck? I will follow Pokey's giant rhinoceros thing as the poop cleaner and buff his army.
And Pokey, you decided to bring not 1, not 2, 5 huge bases with you?
Yes, 5 huge bases. Well, because why not? If I own them, I might as well take them, right?
Exactly.
Alright, so for the Trolls list, we've got a Rask Jarl pairing. What was your guys' thoughts behind this specific pairing?
This is Iron Lich W, and the reason I chose Rask is because I thought his feat would protect him long enough to get A, my models in combat, and B, try to screen the trolls on the way in.
So yeah, this is Warmachinist, and I liked Jarl in this pairing because most of the things that he can do only require friendly models. So I felt like he would synergize well with another army. Could add a few things to the list pair that would allow us to maybe take down some of these Gigantor bases that we know we're about to go up against.
And then, of course, Mulg, because Mulg goes with everything. He's like peanut butter for peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, the nice thing about doing a one-off like this is that there's no character restrictions, so why not get some of the better pieces in here, right?
Mulg's in every list.
Even minion lists.
This Janissa popping across the screen right now is another example of that.
So as the other team is placing down 5, count them 5 huge bases, what exactly is going through your guys' mind when you see these many 120s across from the table?
I know one thing that I'm thinking is, yeah, it's going to be obvious for me, I feel, is turn 1 feat, especially knowing that Jarl's feat could be used on turn 2, so we could kind of get like 2 rounds of screening going on. So that's why I had selected to essentially deploy most of the minion models before the trolls went down. I tried to put them all in a straight line going across the board. That way when they advance, I'll give the Trollbloods 1 round of shooting reprieve while my models aren't on my feet, and then have Warmachinist feet on turn 2, giving us, the ability to close the distance between the 2 armies.
Do you have any concerns with the amount of armor that's sitting across the table?
Well, luckily Rask has Fury that can go onto friendly models, so I'm able to help him crack the armor.
Yeah, that was I thought, a nice discovery. We thought we could be able to use Rask's Fury buff on the Fen Blades, and that was gonna, with their speed, that was gonna do something for us. And we like the idea of putting a screen of the Gators in front, so the medium bases would block the medium bases.
So is the scenario coming into play at any point with it being Incursion, the 3 flags?
Actually, I think that one of the things that we kind of have maybe a chance at in this is a scenario of victory. What it looks like is Fort's army is going to have to do a lot of support for PG-Pokey's army, so that maybe we can get some of the edge flags.
Do you see any play in that with that Iron Lich?
Yes, I do, because we're looking at the list. One of our plans was kind of to have a Feralgeist sit near one of the flags and force PG-Pokey to either put attention on a 1-point model in a 100-point game, or he's going to be contesting 1 flag while our armies went for the other 2.
If I recall correctly, they wound up with no extollers in both lists, and that's kind of why I kind of thought the Feralgeist could be really a pain for them.
Any other final deployment thoughts?
I think that the Warlock that at least I was going to try and focus in on was going to be Xerxis early on, because, well, he's got lower defense, so minions can hit that, especially our beasts, which are mat 6.
The river down the middle of the battlefield was going to be an issue in my mind. But an issue for them as well. And there's a wall out there on their side of the table that it seemed like all those huge bases might have a tough time with.
River? What river? Oh, that's right. I have amphibious.
All right, so in your pre-deployment, you've basically done a symmetrical deployment. You got Animantarax on either side of your huge base caster, and then Mammoths on either side of that. Most of the fill-in for deployment is actually going to be from your list forward. What's your idea behind facing this giant wall of infantry from you?
Again, you keep saying idea as if I had one. I'm just trying to find a place that I can put my pieces down, and Pokey's kind of taking up most of the real estate here. I'm going to go run across the board and stab stuff until I die, is my plan. And that's about as deep as my plan gets. I'm going to try to hide my army and buff his shooting and like I said, stab stuff. I actually played a tier list here, the one from the book. And it denies advanced deploy for my opponent. We decided to let one theme force choose its whatever, and mine was the one that was chosen. And so none of those guys are going to get to AD. I don't know if they have anything that ADs, but they're not going to get to. And we're going to stab stuff, as I said.
Mammoths are stabbing stuff?
Did I mention stabbing stuff? I've got 2 daggers to stab stuff. Oh wait, no, one's a fan. When you heat yourself up from stabbing, you can cool yourself off with the fan, I guess.
And then when it comes to your advanced deploys, was there anything going into your mind there?
Other than stabbing stuff?
I'm noticing a theme. Yes, other than stabbing stuff.
I really have no plan for this game. You seem to think I'm kidding.
You're supposed to be the skilled Skorne player. What's going on here?
As I said, I haven't played Skorne in like 3 years. There's a big wall of stuff over there for my guys to stab, and that's my plan. I have Silence of Death. They've got trolls, so that gives me something to do.
Minblood's turn 1. So there are 2 walls to your advantage, and you're pushing for zone. You mentioned in deployment that you're basically going to try and advance and screen off and go for scenario potential. But I'm noticing that with the advanced deploy, that you might actually get charged in the following turn. What's going in your mind on this turn 1?
Yes, that is true. I know, looking at all the advanced deploy models, and I know they're going to be high defense, but thus far I decided to stick with the original plan, which is to run the Gators forward, trying to spread them out just a little bit to provide a better screen for the Fen Blades. Because I'm already convinced that I have to feat on this turn in order to try and keep as many of the models behind the Gatormen Posse alive. And then I also, the second goal I had was to try and get Rask in the river behind the linear obstacle. That way I could kind of use the paralyze on his gun to make certain models easier for him to hit. I know specifically still targeting epic Xerxis, and then if there's nothing juicy to hit, then try and hit something small that didn't have stealth.
So the Fen Blades are trying to get in behind the Gator screen, and the Gators aren't going to be allowed to be targeted. And hopefully it keeps the Fen Blades alive. I think one of the things that we run into problems with here is that it might have been better to have both our casters central. What do you think?
I agree, because it would have given us a little greater flexibility to possibly deal with the potential jam from all the Skorne. I forget what those guys are called.
Bloodrunners?
Yes, Bloodrunners.
Yeah, that he cranked their defense way up on against us.
Yes.
So I'm actually looking, and I noticed that, because we've got these 2 angles that we're going to be painting back and forth on just so that we can see different shots of the table, that there seems to be a heavy pressure on this specific shot where both of the armies actually seem to have a majority of their presence near this side of the table. There's very little presence on that far black triangular flag. Was that a specific design? Were you feigning to one side and then you were going to shoot over and start scoring on that far one? Which was the one you were looking at scenario for?
So you see the little Feralgeist hanging out in the very top right? So his job was to go just be a completely annoyance on that top flag, and let's put our entire army on the middle flag and the bottom flag. Tie up the middle flag, and we can win the bottom flag. So this is reminding me that we wound up popping both of our feats on this turn. Again, a reason why maybe deploying essentially would have been good, but we like the idea of them not really being able to use their ranged list on either one of us the first turn.
And I also believe that because the way that the opponent's army design came into being, you have one player bring in all the super heavies, and then it kind of left the second player up to bring in all the support, so that when you deploy all the huge bases, you kind of have to put all the support near them, so it kind of forced them to put their armies where they did.
Okay. Skorne, turn 1. So a giant tsunami of infantry is walking towards you guys. What's the game plan going forward? You have a scenario that is slightly modified. We're dealing with Incursion with a broader gap between the flags, and you have these huge bases which could easily contest with as many as you have, except for the fact that because the space is further out between them, it's not going to be as easy on Xerxis. Trying to keep everything in range. So what's the game plan? Where are the warlocks going, and how are you going to stop this giant wave of leather boots and drunken trolls?
They look like a giant wave of leather suitcases to me. That's what they're going to become. That's my plan, at least, for a little plan I have.
After you stab them?
Yeah, I'm going to run up here like I did. Run straight into the face of the wave, looking to stabby stab. I can't reach the stabby yet, so next turn.
Well, so I'm noticing that you're running them up. Are you not worried about them charging in and just killing everything?
I have a really high defense, and I feed it, I believe, on this turn. So they're gonna hit high defenses. They probably won't have too many problem with that, but I got Pokey behind me. Go ahead, Poke.
Well, my whole thing is I'm gonna try to move forward, and for what I can get forward and shoot, I'm going to try to shoot, and just try to get myself in a more central position to where I can go either way. Because right now, as you can see, I'm not quite in the center of the board, but I am, kind of moving that way now. So yeah, so for me, it's just about getting to the middle of the board because they both pop their feet. So we're pretty much just kind of trying to get up and, kill as much as we can before they come after us.
So now looking at the table, they've got two walls that they can hide behind. For whatever their reasons are, they've got their casters. Currently it's the top of the screen, but they basically have their casters on what would be your guys' right side of the table, and then there's not necessarily much on your left side of the table. It's mostly some fen blades and a couple of gators. Is scenario in realm? Are you looking at potentially just kind of bunkering down on the flag closest to the bottom of the screen, or are you looking for just putting some mammoth shots into a caster, or what's the game plan to win?
Well, to be honest, I think because they saw that all the huge bases were on more the our right hand side of the table, I think they were kind of positioning most of their heavier stuff and their caster and they're weighting themselves really heavily against the huge bases, and that way they still had so much overflow that they just kind of had to go over for that other flag. But because I was able to get mostly in the middle, it helped. But it's still one of those things when they set up so much to go against the huge bases. I think that kind of skewed them. So now we can actually have a potential for scenario on that one flag at the very end.
I have no desire for a scenario or anything like that. I didn't even notice there were flags out here until after I moved. I'm just going to go stabby stab stuff. And again,
Skorne playing stabby stab.
Yes.
Move forward and stabby stab.
Now,
Yes.
Your opponents popped both of their feats last turn. Did that strike you as odd that they would do something like that, or do you think that they're just trying to weather all the shooting from the now errated Animantarax and Mammoths?
No, they absolutely were trying to keep themselves from being shot off the table.
Yeah, because both their feats were defensive feats, so it made perfect sense to have that to pop their feet because they're defensive, and we had a lot of shooting on our side.
We speak for yourself.
Hey, you're on my side.
He stabs. He doesn't shooty shoot.
I guess I have 2 Shaman and a Raider, but those are there to just make Pokey shoot better.
Shooting better is good.
Yes, longer, harder, faster. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Stab, stab, stab.
Min Bloods, turn 2. Alright, so the walking wall has advanced forward. You didn't necessarily get engaged anywhere. They've kind of just truffle shuffled up, got it towards the middle line with the Bloodrunners, and then the rest of the army advanced up with no real casualties that happened last turn. So what's going into turn 2? I mean, we're entering into the realm where scoring could happen at the bottom of their turn, so what do you guys got in mind?
I think for the minions, from the minion aspect, I was trying to figure out how to try and kill some of the Bloodrunners to try and give the Finblades some sort of ally without blocking them with my positioning. And I know that proved to be very difficult. Plus, our opponent, who brought Epic Morghoul, he did pop his feet, so now we're dealing with Bloodrunners that have an insane defense bonus. And even with Cold Blood, I would need 9s to hit, because I believe they go up to defense 16. So as you can see, we're moving the models, and I'm trying to make sure, and in order to make sure I keep some kind of ally for the Finblades, I pretty much have to have certain models go to reach range, as well as make sure my placement doesn't jam up my own lines. And I know for the rest of it is I put as much on the flag, like the center flag, I put as much there so that they don't try and score on the center flag as well.
So I'm noticing with the Gator activation that there's some movements going on here. Did you play Dirge, or did you play Pathfinder, or?
With the first Posse unit, I went with Cold-Blooded to try and hit the Bloodrunners. And then with the Posse units in the center, they went Dirge because they weren't really charging anything. So they just advanced and swung where they could, but I didn't want to drop my defense on a whole unit just to have 1 or 2 guys attack a Bloodrunner.
Okay. And then is this setting up for the Fenblades to come in and do work on whatever's left over, or?
Did my best to try and get the Fenblades, because we were thinking, like, if we put quick on the Fenblades, maybe they'd be in range to try and get in on a Mammoth and get a couple attacks there.
Yeah, the dream of getting the Fenblades to the Mammoth was really kind of derailed a bit by these Bloodrunners. I wind up having to use their mini feet on this turn, if I recall, and it was really just to get to the few Bloodrunners that were left down there. But at that point, it seemed kind of worth it, because if you roll enough times, you can sometimes hit a 9 or a 10, right? But really, it kind of like those Fenblades were more like, I consider those to be Iron Lich's unit down there, and I was just more concentrating on the top part of the board.
Did at any point in time did it cross your mind of trying to use the terror checks or morale checks for the Gators and or for the Fenblades no quarter in sort of a back-to-back, like one turn you get it from the Gators, next turn you do the mini feed for the Fenblades?
I'm pretty sure that they passed either 3 or I think 2 or at least 3 maybe terror checks on this turn, which was unfortunate.
And then you're basically engaging up the Fenblades, but obviously at some point you are going to have to get into the meat of this. Otherwise, those Mammoths and the siege Animantarax are just going to start peppering your army. Now that your feats are down, what's the plan for that? Now that you guys don't have feats to protect you.
I feel the plan, especially side of the board, and try and put up more wounds than they can deal with all the heavies and all the heavy infantry. And then I believe we want to make sure that we got the troll cavalry in range to, that way if either our opponents have to move up to contest the flag, or they have to sit back there and let us score points.
I think at some point during this turn, isn't it? I think we convinced ourselves that Morghoul was gonna be able to get to Xerxis too. on this turn also. So that was kind of in the back of our minds the entire time.
I think Mulg just hopped over. I think Mulg just hopped over the wall. That may be in a following turn that you go for that.
Yes, that's in the next turn. This turn we're just positioning the pieces. That way, if our opponents move forward to try and contest the flag, they'll be within our charge distances.
So the plan is still set the engagement so that you can push past and start doing scenario.
Yeah, I mean, we're putting the battle line on their side of the flags. It seems almost impossible to score on the middle flag in this game, the way it's set up, because there's 2 linear obstacles on either side of the bridge. But it really seems like they're going to have to devote a 19-point model or something like that to contesting the flag at the bottom of the screen if it goes well down there. And they can't really push up on the other side because it puts them in charge range of all of our big hitters.
Is there any point in time where you're concerned about Janice's survival with the AoE cannons on the Mammoths?
You know, I think Janissa had one goal, and that was to just try to get the beasts up here. The wall, the permanent wall, not her wall, but the permanent wall that you're all sitting behind right now is in a real good spot for basically shoring up a defense. So I wasn't really overly concerned about protecting her, but I tried to put both Mulg and a Long Rider to block line of sight to her, knowing full well that if the Mammoth gets up on the hill, that's not going to matter.
Well, and I noticed that you ran one of the Long Riders up to it looks like it went to engage the Mammoth and the Siege Animantarax. Was that just a sacrificial pawn, or was there some sort of design behind that one running up and the rest just running into place?
So in our strategy to kind of take the bottom flag, the little Signar flag, you know, he doesn't want to have to waste activations trying to kill one model with those huge models. He wants to be able to kill many models. And I kind of, if they were going to do it, I didn't want them to be able to do it to just move to that hill basically without having to commit resources to take care of that guy. And if he toughs, all the more better to annoy him with.
So I was assuming Rask was just advancing up with the Bog Trucks to do something in a later turn.
Yes, I wanted to advance Rask with the idea that on turn 3, if my opponent were to move up, and if their caster is within a reasonable distance, say 15 inches, because I think that's Rask's threat range with just advancing 5 and shooting his Trident Cannon. Idea is to put paralysis on them and then throw the Swamp Pour at them early and see what damage that could be done. The reason I moved up the Swamp Pour was because he's got Impervious Flesh, which is 1 less damage die on range attacks. He might survive the upcoming turn.
Skorne, turn 2. So they've advanced forward. Haven't really done a lot per se. I mean, a lot of your Bloodrunners are now dead, and they've engaged a couple of your Archidon and stuff like that. But I haven't seen any major plays for your huge bases. We are entering into a realm where you guys are going to be able to start scoring at the bottom of this turn, if able to. Are we still driving the attrition game, or what's the plans for round 2?
Well, like I said, I was going to do some stabby, but they got to do stabby first. And the Gators apparently just did not care what my defense was. With cold-blooded and everything, they're going to get hits. And he just wiped out the unit that I had in front. But I was able to keep him away and off of the Mammoth and the stuff behind it. And so now we're going to just try to clear my plan is just to clear as much stuff from the center and bottom of the map here as I can, while Pokey murders the troll menace that's up top. That was my plan, at least.
So what about for you, Pokey? I mean, you've got these Gators who are, for better lack of terms, potentially in charge range of your caster next turn, or at least distance-wise have the range. Do you feel any pressure on your caster at this point, or are you still feeling comfortable?
My caster, no. The only pressure I feel is the fact that where I need my huge base models to go will be stretching my control area tremendously. And because they were able to jam us closer to our side of the board, it makes it a little tougher to get my huge bases out. It really does.
My whole thing is I can't stab the Gators hard enough. They have 8 wounds, so my anatomical precision and silence of death is not going to do much to them. I need to get to these fin blades, and they were really good at screening the fin blades out. I only got to a few of them. Pokey's going to have to deal with the gators.
So now, just noticing that some of these Bloodrunners are basically moving after they've done their actions. For those who haven't actually encountered Bloodrunners, because you don't see them that often, what's going on here with the movements afterwards?
Well, they have an ability called Shadow Play. When they hit a model, or when they damage a model with a melee attack, any model in that unit can teleport essentially to within an inch of any other model in that unit. So you can do it with models that have activated, that haven't activated, just however you want to do it. It gives them some unique movement and, I guess, infiltration abilities in the game. If they had acrobatics, they would be like 1,000 times better, in addition to Shadow Play. But Shadow Play has some advantages over acrobatics.
Or just a second attack.
Yeah, the second attack is what they need. They're carrying 2 daggers. Some of them are. They need 2 attacks, I agree.
So it allows you to basically start doing a domino effect where one kills and another leaps and kills and another leaps and kills and so forth. I'm assuming they can only do it while they're within command of each other or in coherency.
Yeah, they have to be in command, but the leader can teleport too. It's really cool to get to. It's a cool way to get to support models that are normally very safe from these kind of infantry. And with the Paingiver Master Tormentor, the guy with the big chain whip in here, if they can see him, they get +2 mat, so they become very, very credible threats to even fairly high defense infantry. And anatomical precision means that if you got 1 wound, you're probably dead, unless you're tough. But with the caster that I have, if you're tough, you're still probably dead because I have silence of death.
So, Poke, it looks like you're actually going after the squid. Is this just a target of opportunity that you're able to use your cavalry rule to get up there, attack him, and then fall back into position? Or was this some sort of pivotal move to gain you some sort of advantage over their heavies?
This is just to stab Squidly in the face. That's really what that was. That was to stab Squidly in the face. Hopefully kill one of the Tuffaloes, and then get out of the way so my other huge bases can get in the way.
And Squidly being the nickname that we've given the swamp horror.
Yes, the purple menace right there.
The purple menace. So you've managed
the one that was there.
You've managed to kill off the purple menace. He's still, however, engaged with this this Tuffalo that you have. Are you're gonna try and kill him out, or you're just taking the free strike when you walk away, or
just taking it?
Okay, just tanking it to the face, just like Skorne does.
That's what we do.
So you've got these new errata siege Animantarax. What are your juicy targets for these new I whip it and get rage tokens to shoot guns?
Anything I can. To be honest, their entire army is basically medium base, medium to huge, large base. So that means the POW goes up because of the Reaver Cannon's ability that increases by 1 POW per base size. And so yeah, it's just a matter of getting up there and trying to take out as much as I can.
And then I'm noticing that the left-hand side is really starting to climb. I mean, you guys are just wearing down that what would be your left-hand side. Is this going to provide you any sort of attritional advantage, or are you just basically killing things there because they got in your face?
You got it. If it's in our face, it must be removed from our face. Kind of like a zit, which is what I consider these guys.
I almost feel like your plan Stabby consists of 2 steps. Steps 1, stab anything within reach. Step 2, is anything within reach? No, move towards something and stab it.
Well, that is my flowchart.
Most Skorne players are very familiar with the fact that mammoths are a scared beast. They get startled easily. So when you have something that runs up towards them, they just want to retaliate quickly to get you out of their face.
So very, very akin to the theme of the elephant being scared of the mouse.
Yes. move forward, stomp on it. Hopefully, it'll stop moving at you.
Now, one of the things I did notice is that the troll players have sent one of their tough lows up to, for better lack of terms, shut down the siege animatrix shooting at the bottom of the screen. Is this a problem for you, or are you just gonna walk away from it? Apparently.
Well, actually, he charged, and with 3 rage tokens, it puts him up to I think like armor 21. So I was going to take the hit.
Oh, you weren't worried about the free strike?
No, I think they're what, POW 12.
So you're just basically going in and tanking the damage because worst case scenario, you gave your rage tokens.
As our favorite superhero says, Skorne smash.
That's right.
Puny god.
Oh, you heard it here first. Hulk is apparently a Skorne player. Now you've charged in your siege animatrax, and you've managed to kill the tough low and some other stuff there, but there's 3 heavies right in front of it. Was this a sacrificial lamb to set something up, or you just figured you'd had to start a trade at some point?
It was a very sacrificial lamb because my caster was sitting out in the open, and well, the Animantarax wanted to do something.
So give them the Animantarax so they don't charge your caster.
Exactly, and hopefully something else like maybe that other Mammoth will get in a better position to be able to take out 1 or 2 of their heavies, with a hope.
A hope and a prayer.
You seem to think Skorne have some sort of backup plan other than smash. We smash stuff, and then we're very surprised usually when we get smashed back.
See, because, after stabby, it's smashy, smashy.
Well, what happened to shooty?
What?
Shooty? You've got siege animatrax and mammoths. They're shooting somewhere, right?
Oh, I thought that was just a big rack for their clubs on top of the mammoths. Are those not clubs?
I guess that's how they get their reach.
Gotta do it somehow.
So now we've activated one of the other mammoths, and he is charging in as well. Yeah, you must really be struggling to keep everything. I mean, you've got these 2 mammoths who are playing the outskirts of your control zones, or at least, well, one of them's a little closer. But is there ever concern of you just running these guys way too far out, or are you just, taking it and going with it?
Oh no, huge concern of running outside of my zone, outside of my control area.
Do you have a trick that you use to make sure that you keep things in line, or are you just constantly checking your control range over and over again?
Constantly checking.
Okay.
The nice thing about a mammoth, or most huge base models, once they've finished their movement, they're not train wrecking or beaten back or anything else that's in their way. So they're just kind of like co-chilling there.
Okay. And then is he in position to contest that flag now where he's at?
Actually, I believe he is just outside.
Oh, okay.
Unlike Pokey, I had huge control issues. My support beast, the Shaman and the Raiders, were kind of behind his line of beasts, so my caster couldn't get forward and still keep them in his control area. So I ended up abandoning at least 1 Shaman and to his own devices, hoping that he would go move forward enough that he could be forced. But I think it was not to be.
So it looks like we're tailing in on the round to just advancing some things up and getting things into position. Mostly just your support staff. It looks like. Any other final thoughts to turn to?
No, I had to get a guy on the flag to contest because the Mammoth didn't quite make it, but the Taskmaster was able to contest for at least this turn. But there's a lot of Gators all up there with him, so he's probably not going to survive.
I thought he was supposed to be making the boots, not them making Taskmaster boots.
Well, he may have been a little overly ambitious.
All right,
Yeah, I think for me, it's just one of those things where it's a matter of just trying to get everything else, advanced into, to where they can hopefully contest next turn or do something to be in the way next turn.
And it looks like you're moving up the second siege Animantarax to start taking shots on the Gators on the second flag. Is that just clearing out, or because they're their current threat on this side of the table?
It was just because they were the only targets I had that weren't behind cover, had super high defense, or in combat.
And then because they're medium bases and the gun rules, you're getting an increased damage to that.
Yeah.
And then we move over to the last of the mammoths, and then he kind of trundles up because he's got this Tuffalo involved. Did at any point in time you ever think about curling him, or just throwing him was enough? Or killing him was
punching
enough?
him in the face was more than enough.
Minblood's turn 3. So we've got some huge bases that are now officially on the middle of the table, putting some pressure in the zone. We've still got one mammoth kind of huddling in the back. Maybe he's cowering from the might that is Morghoul. What's going into this turn now that a bunch of the gators have actually died off, and it looks like you're pretty much collapsing onto one side now?
Well, I think one of the critical elements that we had at this point was, even though we did lose a bunch of gators, our opponents didn't have anything to capture the far flag with, so we kind of let that side be. And then we had enough support both on the middle flag to contest it. But at this point, we're thinking that we have a shot at Xerxis 2. The only issue was that we had to get rid of one of the Animantarax, and then at this point we're kind of split. We think the Wrastler has range on him, and then we also think Morghoul has range on Xerxis 2. So I think we end up going with Morghoul because that kind of dictates what we use to get rid of him.
What it comes down to is I should have listened to Iron Lich instead of myself, and we could have got that Wrastler on him. So, but we're trying to clear out that Animantarax to get Morghoul on Xerxis 2. One of the things that we do like about this situation is Xerxis gets his one-time feat, which I'm not sure if he feated yet or not, to keep everything in command. But after that, this is a little bit slightly extended board, and these flags are not normal incursion flags. So command becomes a real issue if that mammoth tries to get over to the flag at the bottom of the screen. So we feel like they can't really score on us down there.
So you mentioned that there was a little bit of conflict between both of you as to how you're going forward. Was that, and this is something that doesn't get brought up that often because most of the time we're always doing one player versus one player. Were you spending a lot of time back and forth with each other? Did you feel like a lot of the times you were out of sync with each other, or was it relatively easy for you to get in sync with each other and just kind of work as one 100-point army, or were you more two 50-point armies?
I feel it was relatively easy because either way, we both felt kind of sure that we could at least get one of the heavies on it, one of the two heavies.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like the two armies that we picked synergized well with each other. If there was anything that his guys needed, I could put it on him. If I needed something, he could put it on me. And so it was the only real issue is maybe I don't quite understand, like, for example, the Wrastler's threat range compared to Morghoul's threat range. But I figured a quicken Morghoul, and I measured. It's one of those things where you measure from your caster, and then you try to figure out, okay, that model's about 2 inches in front of my caster, so if I add that here, it looks like he's going to be fine, and that type of thing. So it was just more of a measurements thing, I guess. Should have been more consultation.
Well, I noticed that you've got your Long Raiders have gone in. Are they going after to try and clear out that Animantarax right now?
Yeah, they're going to clear out the Animantarax to tie up the Mammoth and basically make it so they've basically given us the top flag, so we're going to be able to score. It's just a matter of who to score with. And I think Horthal is going to come over and take that flag, if I recall correctly. But wanted to make it so once we establish this line and send in our beasts, even if they retaliate, we're scoring again.
And there goes the Animantarax, so that is no longer in the way. I mean, you never really realize it until you've got 5 of them on the table, but those huge bases take up a lot of real estate. You've got almost an open lane to his caster now.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of pre-planning has to go into to moving those huge bases, especially with all the support that you need behind them. But I also feel that was kind of like a throwaway. They just didn't expect us to kind of kill them off so easily or so quickly. Because at that point, I was feeling that we'd have to throw at least one heavy into them.
So Snapjaw just went after the flag. What's going there?
Yeah, Snapjaw tried to go after the flag just so I have some models there to score with the flag in case that really the Archidon was out of range. But he ran there and he was just out of base to base, so he wasn't able to get into scoring position.
Oh, okay. So he's not going for going after one of the mammoths or something in the next turn.
No, he's there he was there primarily to score on the flag, but he also is a bit threatening just in case one of that second siege Animantarax moved up.
And the nice thing about his position right there is on the next turn he can go anywhere.
So I just noticed Jarl's going over the hill. What's he going after?
So he's mostly going after to make sure he can take out that. He needs to get quicken on Morghoul. I'm measuring my control area repeatedly, trying to make sure the math with quicken on Morghoul is going to get there. Magic bulleting out some of their support. So those are kinds of the things that he was up to.
Oh, he's gonna shoot the baby elephant in front of Xerxis, the little Agonizer.
I think he goes for a couple other things in camps a little bit. So I think I roll snake eyes though on whatever I'm doing.
I think when we were discussing it and we elected to go with Morghoul to try and go after Xerxis too, we're kind of deciding that, okay, since it's at the very edge, at least go after the baby elephant, and in case we fail on Xerxes, we at least get rid of another particular piece that's a problem for us with this agonizing cry.
So you're looking to capitalize on the baby elephant to get the charge off, or just oh, I see measurements. I guess we're trying to figure out if Morghoul's going to make. I guess that's something unique in this game. You've got two different control areas to measure off of.
We wanted to do this over and over, and we measured, and at the very end, I think we both got a little bit cold feet and said, well, if we charge the Agonizer, at least Morghoul's activation is not completely wasted. But I mean, I think also Rask was paralyzing Xerxes, if I recall.
Yes, Rask did paralyze Xerxes, and I think the deciding factor came down to the Swamp Horde dying, because without the Swamp Horde around to give the Wrastler elasticity for reach, that kind of made it obvious that the Wrastler may not get there, even with the boundless charge up to give him the extra distance.
So we're advancing the stone up, I'm assuming, just to give Morghoul that extra strength.
The extra bit of strength. And here goes our shot at wiping out the entire large base community in one blow.
Oh, because all of the mammoths are on Xerxes.
Correct. So Morghoul's only controlling an Archidon, I think, and a Shaman.
2 Archidons there.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it's not out by much. It's such ridiculousness. The elephant is going to get the little baby elephant's going to get completely destroyed, and I think it's like 1/8 of an inch. So.
Oh, so it was really close.
It was really close.
Okay.
And then it starts to become like, well, what else can they go after?
Well, it looks like one of the mammoths tried counterblasting.
Yes, and he missed his shot. The elephant deserves it, to be honest.
Well, I don't know if killing a small elephant in front of a giant elephant is necessarily a good idea, but hey, that's just me.
I stand by your decision.
So this is one of those situations we try to make some lemonade out of lemon. He's got the Wrastler set up to be our second wave come after this guy, but Morghoul put up Runebreaker, and both his casters are within 6 inches. So at least maybe that'll give him some order of activation issues. And Morghoul's also getting the stone, so he's armor 21.
Oh, so he's sitting on Runebreaker. And looks like we got some Gators going in. I'm assuming they're just trying to put some damage down on the Archidon, or are they just trying to engage him?
The Gators near the center, they actually had a line of sight to Morghoul, so I both sent them in after Morghoul. I didn't expect them to hit anything, but any damage, since Morghoul has armor paper thin, would be transferred to his beasts.
Do you think that in hindsight maybe you should have gone after one of the beasts instead, or?
Tough decision because I only had 2 Posse members left for that particular unit, and if I had sent them into the Animantarax, I possibly could have done enough damage, but I wasn't certain I was going to be able to kill it.
And you score 1 control point. Skorne, turn 3. So you lost one of your siege Animantarax, but you're really just whittling down this army. I mean, as you can see, for the most part, you have a dominant presence on the left side, or your left side. Unfortunately, it looks like one of your mammoths has frenzy.
Yes. Yes, and unfortunately, it beat up on my guy. What's up with that, Pokester?
I told you, they get startled easily,
You
and they
did.
just kind of go after whatever's closest.
You did warn me.
This is like the first time, or the new guy on the circus grounds doesn't know how to stand around the elephants.
We told Bob not to do that. And his name's Spot.
So one of the other things that happened, which I feel like was kind of a big thing, is in the last turn they tried charging Mulligan to go after the little baby elephant Agonizer, and then also to put him into reach range of Xerxis. But the distance to get to Xerxis failed, and all he was able to kill was the baby Agonizer. I have to imagine you guys are going to capitalize on that.
They completely demoralized our entire army. They killed our baby. I mean, come on.
I mean, that's really why the other one frenzied, was because that little baby was his. But but you have a Mulg right in front of you. How tasty of an experience is that?
It's gonna be very tasty. I just have to be able to crack the armor. I'm hoping the stone isn't close enough, but I think that's what we're trying to figure out now, is how close the stone actually is.
And then what else are you going for in this turn? You've obviously gained a huge dominance over the upper portion, so I feel like that's just kind of cleanup at this point. So are we pushing for killing heavies this turn, or what?
Well, there are no heavies within reach of any of my stuff other than the guy that's on the center flag. I can get an Archidon on him probably. Pokey's Mammoth Frenzying really put a huge slowdown on our conquest of the bottom flag map area. I've got a Shaman that can do some shooting, and that's about it. We're going to have to let Pokey kind of handle the north until we can get this Mammoth back, and hopefully we can last that long.
Well, and it looks like you're already down on the scenario, because your opponents were actually able to score a point last turn, because Horthal is touching that flag closest to them. Is this putting any pressure on you guys? I mean, we're in basically a scenario where you're only really gaining a point a turn based on the flags, and I feel like the central flag is constantly being fought over. That scoring on that one's, damn near impossible. Do you think it's going to be a case of they're just going to wait it out? Is that their game plan, or was the point that they got just kind of circumstantial? They had somebody there, they got the point.
Well, for me anyways, right now it's, that one Mammoth at the top, he's actually close enough. He could potentially actually get in and do some serious damage.
Yeah, he's got bulldogs. He can push some of those guys out of the way and go, mess with Horthal. And I think that's what we tried to do. I don't remember, kind of just watching the whole thing here. I think I tried to kill, what is that, Snapjaw or a bull snapper? What is that? Not a bull snapper, the Wrastler. Yeah, the Gator Libre, or whatever the hell they call it. Macho Libre.
So now it looks like the Archidon crit pitch Mulg, and I'm assuming you were throwing him at that Wrastler. Were you just trying to get damage on both of them, or?
Yeah, knock them down, whatever, get them out of the way. Try to get Pokey some breathing room.
And then the second Archidon's wings apparently are getting in the way. Now we've got issues with standing on hills. Like, all things are getting moved around because the terrain wasn't exactly the flattest. And there you go. There goes Morghoul again.
Then the proxy base goes down.
Yeah, lead the base.
He's very top heavy, and easily you get him off a flat surface at all, and he tips over easy.
Making very apparent in this video. So you've gotten Mulg. So you had Mulg. I'm kind of curious on this one. You had Mulg sitting right in front of you and a Mammoth, and you pitched him. Was that to make room for Xerxis, or, I mean, did you not want to just activate the Mammoth and punch Mulg in the face over and over again?
Well, I was talking with Fort, and we discovered that that the stabby and the punchy would work so much better if we were closer to their caster. So we went ahead and decided that the Mammoth, with enough buffs on it, could get back there and either kill heavies or one of the casters.
Yeah, well, the other problem is, see that big wall right in front of the Mammoth? The Mammoth had no room to clear the wall and get to Mulg. If he moved forward, he could do some bulldozing, but there wouldn't have been enough space for him to bulldoze enough. You can only bulldoze him once, and there's just too many models around him that he could to push Mulg out of the way. He would have been stuck on the wall, which means he would have been forced back to the other side of the wall.
Okay. So I'm assuming that your target of assassination is going to be Jarl, since he is in front of the wall.
Well, I think that the Gator caster, which one was that?
Rask.
I think Rask is actually more vulnerable right now. I would love to take down Jarl, but the Rask is much more vulnerable.
Okay. And then what's Xerxis 2 going to be doing this game? Is he just buff botting, or?
Buff botting for the most part. Moving forward to make sure we can get things in control area. Probably getting him in a really bad position, for subsequent turns.
And Morghoul is trying to figure out where he's going to go. He looks like he's going after Snapjaw.
Yeah, he's going to blind the Gator up here on the wall, on the hill. If nothing else, I'll make him not do much on his next turn. I'm pretty hard to hit, so I'm barring weird things, he's pretty safe from this other army. There's some shooting issues with Jarl, with Golden Bullet or whatever it's called. But other Magic Bullet. Yeah, but other than that, I'm fairly safe from any of the shooting.
So it looks Xerxes 2's going in. I'm assuming he's just clearing a path for the Mammoth. And we clock. So now you did see that the Skorne clock did go off. We death clock on Skorne, but because this is Battle Report 100 and because our subscribers have continually asked us to, we continue the game even further. So we've cleared a path. The Mammoth now has the ability to go in and do some damage. Step me through what's happening.
All right. Well, Xerxes went in, did killed out some Tuffalo with lightning strike, killed, moved back, and now the Mammoth that's I guess to our right hand side is actually getting loaded up with as much goodiness as we can give him.
What's he got on him right now? It looks like you've got 2 markers on him.
I think one's Ignite, one's Enrage.
I think it's Rush, Ignite, and Enrage.
Yeah, because then we also have Mobility on him.
Oh wow, he's just super boot loaded up.
Yes, we have fully tricked him out. He is pimped to the max.
So now we're confirming, the laser point is confirming that we have the path that it's going to take. I'm assuming you're checking control just to make sure that you've got the distance, because it's one of the situations where if this gets screwed up, it really gets screwed up.
Yes.
So proxy base goes down, just because whenever you're dealing with a sensitive situation, proxy base is always the good way to go. And you put yourself into a position where you're basically within reach of Mulg, Tuffalo, the Stone, and the Wrastler.
Well, it's also the Bulldoze, because he does have Bulldoze,
okay.
so I was able to get the extra inches.
So now we're actually in reach of Jarl.
Yes. But unfortunately for me, I made the mistake of assaulting him. and he has the ability of if you miss him with an assault shot, he gets some movement shenanigans.
So he evasives away.
Yes. So it was my bad for not knowing it. So I ended up taking that.
So now he's evasive away, but it does actually still manage. It chases after him basically, and it still manages to land on top of. Actually, it lands on top of him, and I think it landed on top of two of the fish dudes,
The
ambushers. Yeah. Did you end up boosting that damage? I don't remember.
I think I boosted the damage on him.
Okay. So I'm assuming that since Jarl is no longer within reach because of the evasive shot, your plan is now shifted towards just killing the heavies in front of you, or?
Yes.
And then I mean, the stone's within range. I'm assuming you're going to try and go after the stone as well.
I think I took one shot at the stone.
Okay, so we have Maul go down. The reason why the Feralgeist disappeared off the board is because the Feralgeist actually jumps into Maul. At any point in time did you think about just leaving the Feralgeist alone and just letting it possess a severely beaten Mulg?
Well, no, because it's a moral victory to drop Mulg.
Okay.
Even if he's an undead Mulg, it's still a moral victory. I hate that model. It has been my demise in more games that I can count.
So you're making sure that nail in the coffin is in place. So if I remember correctly, the actual Wrastler took a lot of damage as well. But the Mammoth, obviously you've put 5 Fury onto him, so he's fully boated up. But so it never really. I mean, it was just you had to kill Mulg because of memories of what he can do, as opposed to trying to just leave the Feralgeist alone and go after and finish off the Wrastler as well.
That was my take on it. Remember, it's all about the stabby and punchy.
I understand. You punched Mulg and he got back up, and the Mammoth got spooked and punched him again.
There you go. So you understand.
I mean, wow, you had one of your Mammoths go frenzy. I mean, talk about a really screw up on the plan, because unfortunately now he's frenzied and he's not going to be able to participate. You've got this one Feralgeist that's just sitting. I mean, these two Feralgeists got to be a nightmare for you guys. You don't have an Extollers in your list. Is there any plan for those?
Well, the Shaman have magic guns. The Shaman can kill them pretty easy. I just gotta get the Shaman into the fight.
Min Blood turn 4. So a lot has happened. We lost Mulg. We lost Mulg, we had a Feralgeist take Mulg, and then we lost him again, and we almost lost a Wrastler, and you've got a Mammoth sitting right in front of both your casters. Now, ideally, they tried going after Jarl, and he evasived away, but what's going through, I mean, like, you guys are running low here, and you've got a Mammoth right next to your casters. What are you guys going to do?
I think at this point, the focus was scenario, because Skorne's got a lot more wounds on the table than we do. So as far as I'm thinking, all right, I'm just going to put Fury on the Wrastler and have the Wrastler go to town and do as much damage as he can. And then also our opponents did something that I did not expect, which was move up Morghoul. So since Snapjaw was in the area, I tried to also attack Morghoul, trying to get the crit knocked down with the tail, but I missed all the attacks with it.
Yeah, I mean, him having to survive off of defenses, if you get him knocked down, that would have been pretty glorious.
Yeah, I would have charged him with all the ambushes left. That had line of sight.
So now I am noticing that Xerxis 2 is only on 8 hit points, though. Is assassination in the plan here, or?
Yeah, I don't think we ever take it off the table completely, but he's definitely on the radar. I mean, obviously we have to deal with the Mammoth. We scored our second we've scored our second point on the flag. So we're and Jarl has used his amazing dodge ability to get out of sure death from the Mammoth charging. So we kind of feel like we're playing with house money at this point.
So now we've got it looks like we had some of the ambushers going off of Morghoul and then a couple of them swinging on the Mammoth. Are we trying to free up the Gator, or is the Gator really going to be the closing deal on the Mammoth?
What we're trying to do is just put damage, as much damage on the Mammoth as we could since they are in the area. I sent 2 after Morghoul in hopes that they would be able to hit because they get powerful charge, which is a additional +2 on their mat, and then do some damage. That way, hopefully, the Gator is able to kill the Mammoth, or the Wrestler is able to kill the Mammoth without maxing out. And I wanted to make a nice little pocket because I believe this particular turn, Rask didn't have Fury on him, so I needed to keep as many of the ambushers around.
I know. I'm almost certain that both of you ran dry on this turn, didn't you?
I think we ran dry on most turns. I think Iron Lich likes to play Rask with no Fury all the time. I've seen him do it. And Jarl just has too many things he wants to do, including Magic Bullet out support and stuff.
Well, I guess that is the double-edged sword behind you guys developing a list, or 2 lists that synergize with each other where you have so much crossover, is you have so many things that you actually can get away with doing that you want to, but that costs Fury in the long run.
I think for having Rask go down to 0 Fury, he had ammunition up on him, then he still had 4 ambushers within 3 inches, so I felt confident that he might have a chance at living.
Well, there's just a sea of ambushers in front of him, so your opponent's going to have to do something in order to get to Rask through all of those reach ambushers. So we are running Feralgeist over. It looks like the Feralgeist are going to be the MVPs of your game. They're constantly taking your flags and holding.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice situation. Like, when they did not bring an Extoller, it kind of let those guys be way more important than maybe they should have been. But there goes the Mammoth.
Yeah, Mammoth's off the table. And you have not activated your Tuffaloes yet, have you?
I have not. And they are kind of sizing up where they want to go.
We were thinking we could get at least one of them on Xerxis.
Do you know if he's got any transfers on him right now, or is he dry?
Well, we just killed that Mammoth, so I think
He's got
that's
transfers.
right. He's got the transfers off of that.
He just may not be in range of the other Mammoth. I don't recall for sure, and it's hard to tell from the angle we're looking at.
So of the 5 original huge bases, we're now down to 3. One a being caster. You just charged a Tuffalo, but there's another one in the unit. Was that an activation
order?
Oh, that was
Horthal. Maybe not.
No, you activated them together. It almost looks like one got in the way of the other.
If I'd have gone back in time, they would have both gone after the Archidon. However, I think that one was Horthal, and the other one was the only one left in the other unit.
Okay. And it looks like we've activated everything, so that should be the end of 4, and you guys are going to get another scenario point, so that puts you at 3 scenario points.
Yeah, I think Jarl's just backing up, trying to get behind the wall right now, and the Impaler's going to come and try to put a little more damage on Xerxis.
So now is Jarl positioning himself to potentially dominate one of those flags, or is that not even on the table?
Well, I believe the scenario, you only get 1 for control or dominate since all the flags are neutral. I think we're positioning him so that our team wouldn't lose, because right now we both realize that Rask is awfully close to Morghoul. And Morghoul has, he's got the grievous wounds, so that would shut down a lot of Rask's defensive abilities except for ammunition.
Skorne turn 4. So they've had another turn. They've managed to not only kill the Mammoth, but they now have Xerxis on sub half his health. You have a Mammoth on the table, but he's out of control. Is it starting to feel like the wheels are falling off the wagon here, or are you guys still in control?
It's 5. I started with 5. I got 3. I'm still in above halfway for huge bases here. Until I drop below drop below half, I'm good.
As long as that half's not Xerxes. It's starting to look bad. I mean, the Jarl thing was just a complete screw up. We didn't know the rule, and it was bad. Otherwise, we could have killed both of their heavies, and they wouldn't have been able to kill that Mammoth, and it would have been a huge problem for them. But now we're going to work on trying to recover. We got to get Pokey into a safe spot as far as getting the stuff that can kill him off of him, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that. The Mammoth being frenzied the turn before and then out of control this turn was rough. You're up, Pope.
So it's looking like we've got a Gladiator who's advancing up. Is he? I'm assuming, like you said, he's just going in to get rid of this Tuffalo because the Tuffalo is a concern for you when it comes to getting onto Xerxis.
I'm just trying to get Xerxis as safe as I can with as much stuff as I can, and it's not. That's not. It wasn't a Tuffalo. It was his.
No, that's actually Horthal.
His Dragoon or whatever he's called. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've managed to dismount him, but he's still in play.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. That's probably going to be the end of Pokey.
So we've got a little bit more actions going on here. It looks like you have a Tormentor going up. Now, Tormentor has a special little ability. Would you want to step us through what's going through while all these Shamblers are dying?
Well, he has Thresher and Anatomical Precision, so that's what he's doing now. But this one is a special one because he's a Theme Force one. He also has Sprint. That's what he's doing now. But his Theme Force ability is a model in his command. Friendly faction model in his command gets to do a 3-inch move when he hits something. So we hit those guys, and I got to move Morghoul up a little bit. So Morghoul could go try to kill something, I guess, but I'm not sure what. I'm waiting to see what Pokey does. So I'm very worried about his ability to survive this turn if we don't clear out a bunch of stuff.
So it looks like Xerxis 2's activating and managed to kill off two of the actual Tufflos. What did he just cast on Morghoul?
Probably Ignite, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll tell you though, we did forget something really big. We forgot to put Sprint up on him, and that's going to cost us the caster, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, because he could kill those two Tuffalos and then go sprinting back and behind the lines.
Yeah. And only can get that Mammoth in his control too, which was huge. We just completely blew it. We forgot. We're stabby. We're not smart.
4 hours. What do you expect?
Yeah. So just as an FYI to the players, I believe we're on hour 3 of this game. It's an extremely time-consuming game, and that was actually one of the things and a testament to both of you is that we are dealing with 100-point scoring army, but we're dealing with 2 mines behind it, so there's a lot of conversation that has to go between you two so that you're both on the same page when it comes to moving the models. I imagine that you probably would have less time devoted in activations and stuff like that if it was even just one person managing 100 points.
Well, sure, yeah. You would have a game plan that you could follow much easier, but he's on a bigger base, so he gets to be the boss.
And he's newer.
That's true.
I was just following what Fort said.
You're not blaming this on me. No. I refuse.
Passing the potato. Or I'm sorry, passing the Durst.
Pretty much true. I sent the Shaman over there to try to get rid of that stupid Feralgeist, and he missed 2 different attacks on him. So I'm like, what do you do now?
Oh, where's this Archidon going? Just going after the stone?
He's going to kill stones. He doesn't like Morg. I hate that Krill Stone guy. That's I was actually going to go over there and try to get a sprint and go to contest that flag, and that's exactly what I did.
Okay, so you're shutting down the scenario. Yeah, they're already on 3. That could turn south if they scored on your turn.
I think if we'd sprinted Pokey, if we'd sprinted Xerxis, like a smart player instead of like a Skorne player, we would have probably had a much better chance of getting through this. I think we might have actually been able to pull something out. But not sprinting him made us sacrifice the Mammoth action, essentially. And it made him very vulnerable to what's going to happen here shortly, I believe.
But you have Stomples still, and Stomples means you win.
We do have Stomples, but we don't have Stomples' brother. We're half Stomples.
Stomple's sister, Stompina.
Oh, that was Stompina? Okay.
Yeah. Poor Stompina. She was put up in the front to die first.
And it looks like we've managed to kill Wrongeye, which caused Snapjaw to disappear as well, and now we're sprinting off to a wall. Minblood's turn 5. So we've lost another heavy. Snapjaw got taken out, and the first damage of the Minblood's army, it looks like Rask took 2 off of a deviating blast. Once again, the story continues. You've got 3 huge bases still on the table, and Morghoul looks like he's ready to put some claws into somebody. And you guys are really, really running dry. What's going on? Like, is this starting to turn into a desperate situation, or is everything still under control?
I feel things are probably getting a little more desperate because, with the exception of the Feralgeist, who's off fighting a shaman on the far side, we're running out of models with which to use as speed bumps, so our opponents can't get to the one flag that we've been controlling the last few turns. And so I like to move up Rask, and I shoot Xerxis again with a paralyze round, and then I'll see where Morghoul's gone. So thinking that we got to get one of them this turn in order for us to have a chance at winning the game.
So it looks like we're positioning for a charge off of the Wrastler.
Exactly. The Wrastler has 1 left in each aspect, which is good enough for a Hordes player, and we send him like a bullet into Xerxis. And
it's payback because he should have been the one going in there when Mo failed earlier on.
Did it ever cross your mind, because he has the death roll of going instead of going after Xerxes, going after Morghoul, since he was so fresh?
I think what we really wanted to do was take the second Mammoth out of play, because we didn't have anything in position that could kill it. And also because Snapjaw missed every single attack against Morghoul the previous turn, I wasn't confident that he'd be able to hit Morghoul.
So Xerxes 2 does go down, so now we've got a Mammoth who is wild. Technically, Morghoul could go over and activate him into his battle group if he wanted to. I don't think that's really on their plate. And we still have a Siege Animantarax on the table, and a Gladiator, and some Shamans. Now that the Mammoth is not a concern, you don't really have anything up there to really help out. Is that Feralgeist at the top just basically a deny piece still, or is there any way that you'll be able to pull off scoring on the black triangle flag?
He's a denial piece mainly because he should have died the previous turn, but the Shaman missed his attack on him, since I believe the Shaman's got a magical attack.
Yeah, he's on borrowed time up there, but it's just going to cause them more activations to try to get rid of him. And really, we're going to go up to, I think, 4 control points on this turn. So it's one of those things where really all we want to do now is position stuff to where he's going to have a real hard time to contest the flag.
Yep, and here's where we send in the Impaler on Morghoul, and you roll like a hard 14 or 16 on the first roll, and you almost kill him.
So in true Warmachine style, it's called for 14 to roll. You boost with the Impaler, and you roll the dice, and before they've even finished rolling, you walk away because you know it's going to be a 14, and lo and behold, you roll the 14.
Yeah, I called the shot. We decided that the wall was in play, and I was like, all right, I'm boosting this. We'll hit the 14, and we hit it. I think I did a victory lap around the store, and then I flubbed up on the damage roll, so it took all the fun out of it. I thought it was the death shot. But the Impaler's other job was just to engage that. I think that's a Shaman sitting there next to him on his left.
Yeah.
Just hitting Morghoul was just bonus gravy, because we got this game won on the flag if we can just keep everything locked up over there.
Skorne turn 5. So, unfortunately, as predicted, Xerxes has fallen. We now have a wild Mammoth. If it wasn't bad enough that he was stomping on things beforehand, now he doesn't even have anybody controlling him. And we have Morghoul, who's currently activating and jumping over a wall. Unfortunately, the way that elevation is designed, putting something on the edge of it, almost impossible. So even though Morghoul is currently standing next to the flag, he's actually in front of the Tormentor. Did at any point in time it cross your mind to just run over and put that Mammoth into your control?
It did, but then that means I would have lost the Gladiator and the Shaman. I guess I got to move them first. But the real concern was we've been playing for like 4 hours. I would rather just die than go over there and extend this for another 2 hours or whatever.
So this is a game where you were losing on time and energy attrition, not necessarily model attrition.
Well, you asked for honesty, so. See that Diet Coke in the top of the screen? That's been my 5th Diet Coke this game.
Yeah, that's not good. Even though you guys are running low on things are starting to die left and right. We have the once again we have the shenanigans of the Tormentor killing and sprinting, and Morghoul advances up. That Wrastler, even though he's there, is he still active?
Yeah, I have to kill Rask to get rid of him, to get him inactive. But the Archidon and the Shaman and everything beating on him. I just finally decided that I'm going to go try to take down Rask instead. I wanted to take away all of his transfers. I don't know that looking at the board here now, it looks like he doesn't have any transfers.
No, your Tormentor went in and killed the last of the Shamblers.
The little Shamblers who were surrounding him.
The Bog Trogs.
Oh yeah, it's almost like I knew what I was doing there.
I thought it was just stabby.
Oh, I did stabby, slashy. It's almost the same as stabby. I have a lot of pieces that I could do stuff with here, and I think I would have been in good position if I had known another of the special abilities of Jarl. He has Magic Bullet. I'm almost unhittable and unassailable once I do my sprint move and everything, except he can shoot something else and hit me with a Magic Bullet, and I'm only armor 13, so I'm pretty easy to beat up.
So he can shoot like a shaman or even his own impaler if he wants to, in order to zap you.
Yeah. Well, it's much easier for him to shoot his own models because he can position them into a spot that makes it really easy to hit his model and then just bounce to within 4 inches, I think it is, and hit whatever. And that is a very big problem for Morghoul. And I think I had an issue that I missed with my first attack on Rask, and I had to blind him with that first attack, and I missed. So I ended up spending 1 more fury than I had calculated. I'm going to sprint back to try to hide behind this bridge wall again, I think. And I feel like I'm fairly safe over there. I have stealth, so I'm hard to hit.
One looks like we've got the Archidon coming up to try and do something to Jarl, or is he just engaging?
I was going to try to engage him to keep him from being able to go anywhere, but again, Jarl has some other ability that lets him walk out of melee, parry or something. So he's just a really tricky caster that I didn't know any of his abilities, and Pokey didn't tell me. He was sulking about being killed. Actually, I don't know. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, I'm just going with trolls or tricksy.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
They're just really a bad matchup for a lot of people because they're really a powerful faction. That's what I'm going to go with for this game.
Don't even start. So we're down to limited actions, but basically you've gotten the majority of what you wanted. Rask is now dead, and you're basically putting yourself into position to hopefully kill Jarl in the following turn?
Yeah, that was the plan. And again, without the Magic Bullet, I think I would have been able to pull that off. But the Magic Bullet is his... It's his Magic Bullet.
It's magic. It's Magic Bullet.
Yeah, this Wrastler not dying was kind of a pain in the butt, but he's not controlled now, so he's...
Yeah, I was gonna say he's wild, so he's not doing anything. Fortunately, because of your positioning, they're still not going to be able to score any control because the Archidon's in range.
Well, that's what the Archidon went over there for. I mean, I won't. That was the plan. I should have been able to score on the northernmost flag, but the Shaman let me down.
Bin Bloods, turn 6. So you have Jarl, Stone, and 2 Feralgeists, and that's it. No, I'm sorry. There's 1 Gator up at the very, very top because the Wrastler is wild. What the hell are you going to do?
I mean, it all comes down to, people say Jarl can't finish games. He's not an anchor. But
And I believe Morghoul is empty too.
Morghoul is empty, and he is sitting in a place where the idea here now is to run our stuff up and Magic Bullet off of it. So we've got a Feralgeist and a Rune Bear that have bravely leapt to the cause to let me throw magic bullets off of them into Morghoul.
So Morghoul takes 5, and you stepped away. You have evasive, so you could be unengaged by the Archidon, correct?
Correct.
There goes a second magic bullet, ending the game for a minion Trollblood victory.
It was a fun game, and we had good opponents.
On retrospect, on thinking about what we did here, I wish that I hadn't gone full stabby up at the top on the very first turn. I could have kept my guys out of his charge range, and then maybe gotten some, with the shadow play and everything, gotten deep into those fin blades and really cleared the top up earlier. I mean, I lost probably 5 attacks because I lost up there on the first turn that I didn't need to lose. I overestimated the ability to weather his assault with that high defense and the evasive and everything from Morghoul's feet. It just goes to show that Morghoul, even when you polish a turret, it still smells bad. So it was a fun game. I love playing this caster, and I'm definitely gonna play this theme list because the Aratus, Sentinels, and Soldier have AD. So with him and that theme force, almost his entire army has AD, and the enemy completely loses AD. So it's going to put huge scenario pressure on my opponent.
For me, it's mainly control, keeping things in my control range. Kind of wish I didn't get the Mammoth so far out, but you know, it's afterthoughts. The list I played was really kind of more of just a campy, funny list. You know, who doesn't want to play with 5 huge bases? But I do see where, in the right matchup, that could be, you know, that could actually be, you know, an interesting list for facing up against some armies. Is it competitive? No. Is it a blast to play? Oh yes, definitely a blast to play. But it was a good game.